The company has gone bankrupt. My parents met with a tragic accident, and my boyfriend has betrayed me. As I contemplated the path to my own demise, I encountered a Taoist. He proclaimed that my fate had been exchanged with another, who is currently reveling in the opulence that was rightfully mine. Young lady, come and have your fortune told. No payment required if you find it unsatisfactory. I wandered aimlessly along the path, traversing the park that leads to the notorious unfinished building in our city. My residence is situated there. Having just consumed my final meal and donned my most exquisite attire, I intended to conclude my brief and lamentable existence atop the tallest edifice. Young lady, this clear, persistent voice was imbued with a determination that suggested he would not relent until I responded. Turning my gaze, I beheld an exceptionally handsome young Taoist priest. His excitement grew upon noticing my turn, as he fervently waved at me. Come on, no payment required. After a moment's reflection, I decided to spend the remaining 200 yuan in my WeChat wallet right there. According to the young priest, he is a disciple of the Maoshan school, the 78th generation of true transmission, and he has descended the mountain to gain experience. I observed the Taoist, clad in a blue robe with a closely cropped hairstyle, in his early 20s. He possessed striking features, with thick brows and large eyes, and a healthy, sun-kissed complexion. When he smiled, a subtle dimple graced his chin. Indeed, he embodied the current trend of the charming little wolf dog aesthetic. You ought to consider a different location. This park is filled with elderly folk. Setting up your stall near the university would surely yield better business. His appealing visage compelled me to offer him a suggestion. Two young Taoist priests smiled radiantly, revealing their pearly white teeth. I have consulted the I Ching, and it appears that today's fated person is none other than you. My lady, your celestial crown is ample, and your brows and eyes are exquisite. It is evident that you possess a rare fortune. Me? Good fortune? I chuckled self-deprecatingly as this young priest, with his delicate features, surprised me with his lack of insight. Well, your parents are prosperous and long-lived. You must have been pampered since childhood, never facing hardship. My parents died in a car accident when I was in high school. What? The Taoist's confident smile faltered, his handsome face now etched with skepticism. You must have a flourishing career and abundant wealth? My company just went bankrupt this year, and after settling debts, not a single penny remains. As for my assets, I gestured toward the dilapidated building across the street. I sold my parents' old house and, with my lifetime savings, purchased a new home right there, which has been left unfinished for 3 years. The composure of the young priest cracked, and he began to doubt himself. A blissful love life and harmonious marriage? I was just dumped yesterday. My boyfriend of 3 years confessed he has fallen for my best friend. The young priest fell silent. The reality hit like a whirlwind, unexpectedly. I observed the young priest's embarrassment, and a wave of sympathy washed over me. After transferring my last 200 yuan to him via my phone, I stood up, preparing to leave. Young master, it was a pleasure meeting you. But your skills could use some improvement. A firm hand grasped my wrist, and as the priest rose, I realized he was quite tall, nearly a head above me. I cannot possibly be mistaken. Please provide your birth details, and I shall calculate further. His youthful face was filled with determination and disbelief. It was apparent that he was struggling to maintain his dignity after being so thoroughly discredited. I understood his predicament. If he wished to consult further, why not? Before embarking on my final journey, engaging in conversation felt like a fitting farewell. I quietly turned and shared my birth details. The young priest's brow furrowed ever deeper, as though he could crush a fly with it. This cannot be right, it must be a mistake. All 5 elements are present, with a harmonious flow, indeed, a prime fortune. My lady, please wait. The seriousness of his expression intensified as he retrieved a collection of items from a box on the ground. First, he produced a piece of yellow cloth adorned with a large bagua. He spread it across the table and then took out an ancient incense burner, reverently lighting 3 sticks of incense. Finally, he cautiously produced a cloth pouch from his robe, revealing 3 gleaming copper coins. After completing these rituals, the young priest began to shake the divination sticks, tossing the coins into the air 6 times. His face was a canvas of disbelief, which soon morphed into palpable anger as he gritted his teeth and exclaimed, "How could such a heartless person exist?" I sat across from him, utterly bewildered. This young priest certainly had a flair for drama. My lady, your life essence has been stolen. What on earth? One's fate can be stolen? Seeing my skepticism, the young priest grew agitated. You were born under a grand fortune, destined for wealth, familial bonds, and a blissful marriage. However, someone envious has exchanged your fate. According to my calculations, if your birth details are pushed forward by a day, they reveal early parental demise, a disrupted marriage, and a life devoid of wealth, an inferior fate indeed. You have had your life exchanged. This was utterly absurd. I gazed at him earnestly. Young Taoist, I truly have no money. To be frank, I had planned to leap from a building today. That 200 yuan in my WeChat is my last. So, are you attempting to swindle me, or should we find someone else? The young priest glared at me, his dark eyes wide with disbelief. You don't believe me? Who could possibly believe such a tale? Your fate has been swapped. Your parents have perished. There must be an issue with their grave. When it came to my parents, my eyes instantly welled with tears. That year of the car accident, my father died on the spot, while my mother lingered on. By the time I reached the hospital, she had already emerged from surgery, astonishingly conscious despite the heavy anesthesia. Ning Ning, your father and I are leaving soon. You must promise me to live well. To truly live well. I managed to hold on until the age of 27, but I could no longer endure descending to the underworld. My parents would surely be disappointed in me. I had not visited them in quite some time. I should see them before I depart. I regarded the young priest with a look that conveyed, though I sensed you were deceiving me, I would not expose you, which only served to infuriate him further. I am Lu Qingxian. May I ask your name, my lady? I am Zhou Yanning. Time is of the essence. Let us depart at once. My parents were buried in our hometown, a picturesque town in Jiangnan. I lacked even the funds for a train ticket, which was provided by Lu Qingxian. This made me increasingly uneasy. Was I about to embark on a reckless journey with a stranger, only to meet a grim fate? Aside from my life, I possessed little of value. Sensing my apprehension, Lu Qingxian sent me a photo of his identification. Rest assured, we are heading to your hometown, not mine. The villagers are familiar with you. During daylight hours, what do you have to fear? His reasoning was somewhat sound. Just then, a particularly mismatched couple strolled through the adjacent train car. The woman, in her 30s, was short, dark, and stout, her face even sprouting a few hairs, resembling a small black coal ball. Before she approached, a rancid odor wafted toward me, mingled with an unpleasant musk, causing my eyes to sting. Conversely, the man was tall and handsome, with striking features and a statuesque physique, as if he were destined for the cover of a fashion magazine. Yet, this woman clung tightly to his arm, her face radiating sweetness. There was something about this woman that piqued my curiosity. Goodness, it was Gu Haoze. This man was none other than Gu Haoze, my high school classmate. He was a well-known rich heir from our hometown, with numerous family businesses, including over 10 factories. Gu Haoze had always been somewhat of a catch, his past girlfriends resembling small celebrities, all stunningly beautiful with fair skin and long legs. We were in the same class in high school, but our interactions were minimal, merely acquaintances. After years apart, had his tastes become so extravagant? Encountering an old classmate on the train, someone I had barely known, suddenly felt strangely intimate. Gu Haoze. It's me, Zhou Yanning. Gu Haoze's eyes lit up at the sight of me, his clear gaze now infused with genuine warmth. Zhou Yanning, what a coincidence. It's been 8 or 9 years. Hasn't it? Aze, who is this? The woman beside him spoke, her voice raspy and shrill, resembling a broken gong. The sense of dissonance intensified. Gu Haoze and his girlfriend were seated directly across from us, and throughout this interaction, the woman cast icy glares in my direction. I felt as if I were being scrutinized by a venomous serpent, the hairs on the back of my neck standing on end. Lu Qingxian regarded Gu Haoze with a mixture of suspicion and intrigue, as if searching for a flower on his face. Upon learning that Gu Haoze was bringing a woman home to meet his parents, Lu Qingxian and I exchanged knowing glances. True love, without a doubt. Though the girl was somewhat challenging on the eyes, she surely was fortunate. Lu Qingxian signaled to me, "Let us go buy a bottle of water." With that, he pulled me toward another car. Lu Qingxian anxiously glanced around, ensuring that Gu Haoze and others were not following, before leaning closer to my ear and whispering, "Your classmate has been afflicted by a curse. We must rescue him." I shot him a disapproving look. Qingxian, as a practitioner, how can you judge someone by their appearance? That girl may not be conventionally attractive, but perhaps she possesses profound inner qualities. Lu Qixian smacked his forehead. By the heavenly lord, the curse I speak of is real. Your classmate has been ensnared by a peach blossom curse. According to Lu Qixian, the peach blossom curse is one of the most malevolent forms of witchcraft. The perpetrator introduces a cursed insect into the victim's body. This insect is a translucent pink, favoring residence in the brain, gradually consuming and controlling it. Within a year, the afflicted individual becomes a mere shell of their former self, obedient to the will of the caster. After 2 years, they perish as their brain is devoured completely. As a proud graduate of a prestigious university, I scoffed. Do I resemble someone afflicted by a peach blossom curse? Lu Qixian looked at me with urgency. The sorcerer is cruel and cunning, especially those who cast the peach blossom curse, who hold a strong possessiveness over their victims. When your classmate smiled at you, the sorcerer likely took offense. Be cautious, for she will undoubtedly attempt to offer you something to consume, and you must refuse. Lu Qingshuan's earnest expression and sincere gaze made me believe him somewhat. Could such absurdities truly exist in the 21st century? If curses were real, did that imply that my fate had also been altered? Thus, my parents' deaths were not mere accidents, but rather the result of foul play. The air-conditioned train carriage was chilling, and beads of cold sweat formed on my back. The thought of being targeted for over 20 years made me clench my fists. Who could it be? I nervously gripped a bottle of water as I returned to the carriage with Lu Qixian, nearly stumbling in my haste. According to him, the cursed insects were drawn to water, and those afflicted by the peach blossom curse needed to drink incessantly. Furthermore, those under its influence would exhibit a faint pink hue at the corners of their eyes, making them irresistibly alluring. These are my homemade candies. Would you like to try one? A deep, raspy voice accompanied the sight of a strong, dark hand extending towards me, bearing a selection of colorful sweets. I could not help but swallow hard. Lu Qixian had indeed been right. Li makes the best candies. They taste better than anything you can find in stores. Do give them a try. Gu Haoze looked at me with enthusiasm, the corners of his eyes tinged with a delicate shade of rose, as if adorned with the most vibrant blush. What a pity, I'm on a diet and cannot indulge in sweets. Is that so? What a shame. The woman retracted her hand but wore a smile that did not reach her eyes, which glinted ominously as she fixed her gaze on my face, reminiscent of a rabid dog poised to pounce. My goodness, it was utterly terrifying. Beneath the table, I instinctively grasped Lu Qixian's hand tightly. Gu Haoze, as Lu Qixian had indicated, was consuming bottle after bottle of water, seemingly possessing an insatiable appetite. In less than 30 minutes, 10 bottles of mineral water lay scattered across the table. Everything Lu Qixian had said was proving true. Gu Haoze had indeed fallen victim to the sorceress beside him. And I had my fate manipulated. Lu Qixian reached out with his other hand, comforting me by patting my knuckles, alleviating my anxiety somewhat. I have some delicious bread. Would you like some? The woman across from me, undeterred, produced a bag of bread and extended it towards me, her fingers thick and dark, caked with dirt beneath her nails. I managed a feeble smile. Thank you so much, but I really can't eat as I'm dieting. Clearly impatient. She abruptly stood and forcefully pinched my face, tearing off a piece of bread and shoving it into my mouth with little regard. The suddenness of the situation left both Lu Qixian and me momentarily stunned. Gu Haoze was taken aback as well, quickly recovering to pull the woman back down into her seat, awkwardly attempting to diffuse the tension. Haha, Li is just overly enthusiastic. Don't mind her. Zhou Yanning. Lu Qixian, his expression cold, rose abruptly and pulled me aside. Zhou Yanning, come here, I need to speak with you. His steps were swift, and my wrist was painfully yanked. Reaching the restroom at the front of the carriage, he pushed me inside. What the hell? Hurry. He retrieved a yellow talisman from his bag, swiftly forming several hand seals, causing the talisman to ignite. Grabbing my face, he forced the burning talisman into my mouth. Just this morning, I had mused that with my unfortunate life, things could hardly get worse. Clearly, I should not tempt fate. Now, I found myself hiding in a high-speed train restroom, consuming burning talisman paper, striving to expel the cursed insects from my body. As the talisman entered my mouth, I distinctly felt a significant mass crawling up my throat. It was slick and clammy, obstructing my airway and making me roll my eyes in desperation. Seeing this, Lu Qixian slapped my back. Gag. A blue frog, the size of my palm, fell into the toilet bowl. Its body was covered in red blisters, and its eyes were an unsettling yellow, creating a vivid yet eerie spectacle. Lu Qingxian swiftly produced a bag of white granules, labeled table salt, and poured the entire contents into the toilet. As the salt dissolved, a red smoke emanated from the frog, which squirmed momentarily before collapsing into a blue frog skin. I pressed my hands against my throat, horrified, staring at the frog skin in the toilet. All my beliefs accumulated over 2 decades crumbled in that instant. Hadn't it been declared that such supernatural phenomena could not exist post-revolution? Was there truly no oversight regarding such serious superstitions? Did you just pour an entire bag of salt? I asked incredulously. Lu Qingxian nodded, still shaken. Most cursed insects, like leeches, will produce a thick saline solution when salt is applied externally. Due to osmotic pressure, their bodily fluids will deplete, leading to dehydration and death. At such a critical moment, he was still explaining the science behind it? Lu Qingxian expressed concern about causing a scene on the train and endangering innocent bystanders. So we awkwardly stood in the aisle for half an hour, too fearful to return to our seats. Finally, the train arrived at the station, and Lu Qingxian and I dashed out as if pursued by rabid dogs. Are we just going to leave it at that? I asked, unable to resist glancing back repeatedly, sweat beading on my forehead from our hurried pace. Of course, we cannot stand idly by. There are too many people on the train. I need to prepare properly before confronting that sorcerer. I felt a mix of cowardice and selfishness wash over me. After my parents died in a car accident during my sophomore year, the school waived all my tuition fees and organized donations from classmates. Gu Haoze's family company even provided a generous 100,000 yuan, which his parents later insisted was a charitable donation, refusing to accept repayment. Regardless of the circumstances, I owed Gu Haoze a significant debt of gratitude, yet I had been so frightened by that sorcerer that I only thought of escaping. Once you're ready, I'll accompany you. I know where she lives. With a resolute heart, I assured Lu Qingxian, I am quite swift in running. I shall undoubtedly be of assistance to you. Lu Qingxian gazed at me with a look of paternal affection, his eyes brimming with warmth. Indeed, Xiao Dao did not err. Miss Yan Ning is truly a kind-hearted individual. By the time we arrived at my parents' graves, dusk had settled, and the fading sunlight painted the horizon a brilliant crimson. Lush pomegranate trees surrounded the gravesite, presenting a scene of serene beauty. Lu Qingxian was taken aback, exclaiming, "Why are pomegranate trees planted beside your family grave?" He circled the trees, eventually standing beneath the largest one, examining it closely as he tapped and touched the bark. After a flurry of activity, he produced a pair of pliers from his bag. I stood perplexed, marveling at the seemingly endless contents of his cloth pouch. With a series of deft movements, Lu Qingxian extracted 9 nails of varying sizes from the tree trunk. The longest was nearly the length of my palm, while the shortest measured about the length of a fingertip. Lu Qingxian held the nails in his hand, his expression darkening significantly. What is this? How could there be nails in the tree? The pomegranate tree has an extensive root system that, over the years, penetrates deeply into the grave of the deceased. Once roots begin to grow within the grave, it signifies that the departed have no place of rest, and they risk having their bodies pierced by the roots, thus being eternally barred from reincarnation. He gestured to the circle of 7 pomegranate trees, their trunks adorned with nails and their roots intertwined below. This is known as the heavenly net formation, which can ensnare the souls of the departed, preventing their rebirth. Furthermore, the souls must endure the torment of the tree trunks piercing their bodies day and night. Over time, they will dissipate entirely, vanishing from existence. I stood pale-faced, clenching my fists in an attempt to maintain my composure. These trees were planted by my uncle. Lu Qingxian explained that my uncle had altered my fate, leading to my parents' untimely deaths, and certainly would not allow their souls to seek justice in the underworld. Thus, they were confined within this grave, waiting for their spirits to fade away completely. It made sense. My family's fortunes had dwindled over the years while my uncle's had flourished. They had moved into a new house, purchased vehicles, and started a factory. My cousin had even gone abroad to study. But wait, my cousin was 2 years my senior. And according to Lu Qingxian, the person who had altered my fate was born just a day apart from me. My uncle's family must be complicit in this. Lu Qingxian, I shall borrow a hoe from the villagers, and we will uproot these trees at once. Lu Qingxian restrained me, handing me a tissue. I wiped my face with the back of my hand, only to realize it was already streaked with tears. After my parents passed, it was my uncle and aunt who took on the responsibility of caring for me, allowing me to reside in their home until I graduated from university and began working in Hangzhou. They treated me exceedingly well, even better than my cousin. Whenever there were delicacies, they always thought of me first, which often led to my cousin sulking and accusing them of favoritism. Such wonderful uncle and aunt, my closest relatives, were, in fact, the accomplices in my parents' demise. Who else in this world could I trust? Do not alarm the enemy. We cannot fell the trees. First, I must find a way to restore your parents' souls, Lu Qingxian consoled as he patted my shoulder, then began to rearrange the formation with various items from his bag. I sat with my knees drawn up, the mountain breeze chilling me further, yet my heart felt colder still. Lu Qingxian indicated that altering my fate would require not only my birth date and time, but also my hair, nails, and cherished belongings that I had kept close since childhood. My cousin's voice echoed in my memories, now growing clearer. Ning ning. I saw someone on television yesterday making bracelets from hair. Let us each cut a strand and make one together. Ning ning, let me help you cut your nails. You just scratched my arm. Ning ning, can I play with your doll for a few days? I'll trade with you. In my childhood, my cousin had been quite affectionate, calling me Ning Ning. However, after I turned 8 or 9, she began to distance herself. Our family's fortunes began to decline, our business faltering, leading us to move from a villa to a modest apartment. In stark contrast, my cousin's family prospered, ascending to great heights. I clenched my fists. The person who had stolen my fate must have dealings with my uncle's family. I needed to remain calm, not let hatred cloud my judgment, and avoid alerting them to the fact that I had uncovered this secret. Lu Qingxian busied himself digging and burying items around the grave for a while before finally completing his task. Where do we go next? I glanced at his dusty Taoist robe. His appearance would certainly raise suspicions if we returned home like this. First, we shall buy you a change of clothes. Standing at my doorstep with a refreshed Lu Qingxian, I took a deep breath and rang the doorbell. The door was opened by my cousin, whom I had not seen in years, adorned in glamorous makeup and designer attire. Well, look who we have here, a rare visitor. In the past, I would have felt guilty for seemingly usurping my uncle and aunt's affection, but now this entire family only disgusted me. There were guests at my uncle's home, one of whom was a stunning girl, tall and elegantly made up, her very presence exuding opulence. My cousin, Zhou Yafeng, raised an eyebrow. Proudly introducing the striking girl before us, allow me to present Tang Anren, the heiress of the Tang family real estate. This is my cousin, Zhou Yanning. Tang Anren sat with an air of restraint, barely lifting her face. My cousin was bustling about, offering fruits and tea with more eagerness than a maid. Just then, my uncle and aunt emerged from the kitchen. My uncle's face lit up upon seeing me, his smile stretching across his wrinkled face. Ning Ning, why not stay for a while? Your aunt has had your room cleaned daily. It's quite tidy. And who might this be? I clenched my fists tightly, my nails digging painfully into my flesh, yet I managed to present a radiant smile to my uncle. This is my colleague. You can call him Xiao Lu. We're here on a work trip, so we hope to impose on you for a bit. Ahem, Zhou Yanning. I heard you were high school classmates with Gu Haoze from Gu Corporation? Seemingly dissatisfied with my uncle's attention towards me, my cousin cleared her throat, redirecting everyone's focus back to herself. Let me introduce you. Miss Tang Anren is Gu Haoze's fiancé. In a sense, you are not strangers. Fiancé? I exclaimed, my head snapping upward in surprise. But I encountered Gu Haoze this afternoon on the high-speed train. He was with his girlfriend heading home to meet his parents. What did you say? A shrill voice pierced the air as Tang Anren's face turned ashen, and she stood abruptly, accidentally knocking over her teacup. I pointed at Lu Qingxian. We both saw it together. We were on the same train, sitting directly across from one another. Seeing Tang Anren's anger, my cousin appeared flustered, chiding me in discontent. What nonsense are you spouting? Gu Haoze and Anren are set to be engaged next month. Oh, it seems someone has been thwarted. For reasons unknown. My entire being felt uneasy at the sight of Tang Anren, an overwhelming urge to confront her stirring within me. Her haughty demeanor made her seem like a goddess, with us mere mortals existing beneath her feet. Shaking my head, I questioned my own feelings. Why did I feel such animosity towards her merely for her sour expression? I sensed something was amiss. Tang Anren stormed out in a fit of rage, and my cousin rolled her eyes at me before hastily following her. After a while, my cousin returned with a sullen expression, hurling her phone onto the sofa with a force that suggested I had incurred a debt of millions. Zhou Yanning, do you know who Tang Anren is? She exclaimed. Tang Real Estate is our family's largest client. Even a mere trifle from her could sustain us. And now you've offended her. I rolled my eyes. How have I offended her? I merely spoke the truth. Did you actually see Gu Haoze with a woman? My cousin scrutinized me with suspicion. Upon seeing my affirmative nod, she panicked. This won't do, I must investigate. If the engagement banquet is disrupted, Tang Anren will likely erupt in fury. What did you say? Tang Anren is the one who stole my fate? It's merely a suspicion, a mere conjecture. In the bedroom, Lu Qingxian pulled me back onto the chair, patiently explaining, Tang Anren possesses a harsh visage, high cheekbones, and a sunken forehead, exuding an aura of misfortune that seems to sap her parents' vitality. Yet, beneath this exterior lies a faint veneer of nobility, much like a beggar donning new garments, a striking dissonance. Either a skilled practitioner has altered her destiny, or she has performed significant good deeds to shift her fortunes. Either scenario is plausible. If her birthday is merely a day apart from yours, it is highly likely she is the one. I remained silent, my intuition firmly convinced it was indeed her. My cousin, usually proud, willingly played the role of her subordinate, and my aunt's overly cautious demeanor towards her indicated that Tang Anren was no ordinary person. Lu Qingxian sighed, scratching his head. Currently, we face a considerable dilemma. Your classmate has attracted the attention of a sorcerer, and Tang Anren is likely in peril. Is this what they call a dog-eat-dog scenario? Lu Qingxian discerned my thoughts, shaking his head disapprovingly. Miss Yanning, such notions are misguided. What if Tang Anren is not the one who stole your fate? Wouldn't that render you culpable of harming the innocent? I lay in bed, restless and unable to sleep. So I decided to search for Tang Real Estate on my phone, and indeed, I stumbled upon some intriguing information. In my childhood, an old Taoist came to our village to tell fortunes, and upon seeing me, he proclaimed I possessed a rare and auspicious fate, one that would bring prosperity to my parents and fortune to my future husband. After my birth, my family's business flourished, leading us to swiftly relocate from the countryside to the city. The villagers, envious and gossiping, attributed our success to my favorable destiny. Reflecting on it now, the seeds of misfortune were sown back then. At the age of 10, I fell gravely ill and spent a month in the hospital, enduring high fevers and unconsciousness, with doctors unable to ascertain the cause. Miraculously, I recovered, yet from that point onward, my family's fortunes began to decline, and my parents' health deteriorated. In hindsight, it appears that my fate was altered at that tender age, coinciding with the meteoric rise of Tang Real Estate. I was left wondering which year Tang Anren was born. I would confirm it with my cousin tomorrow. After finishing breakfast downstairs, I lingered for a while until my cousin, still bleary-eyed, descended from upstairs. Sister, are you going to see Tang Anren today? My enthusiasm was somewhat unusual, prompting a wary glance from her. Why? I discovered yesterday just how formidable Tang Real Estate is. I heard from a high school classmate that Tang Anren lives in an enormous mansion that's quite extravagant. I've never even seen a mansion. My sister raised her chin with pride, as though she were the one residing in such opulence. You country bumpkin, I'm actually going to visit Tang Anren's home shortly. You should accompany me. I feigned excitement and nodded, realizing that after all these years, my sister had not changed a bit. Thus, Lu Qingxian and I were smoothly ushered into Tang Anren's residence. To my astonishment, Gu Haoze and a sorceress named Ali were also present. My cousin gazed at Ali in shock, her eyes wide and mouth agape momentarily rendered speechless. Even if you disapprove of this marriage, must you resort to such a woman to provoke me? Tang Anren's chest heaved violently, her face flushed, and her temples pulsated, making me fear she might burst a blood vessel. Gu Haoze gazed affectionately at the sorceress. I won't allow you to speak of Ali in such a manner. To me, she is the finest of women. Tang Anren, how could you humiliate me by bringing in such an old, ugly, and dark-skinned creature? Enraged, Tang Anren lost her composure and began to lash out. The sorceress appeared visibly angered, glaring menacingly at Tang Anren. At that moment, A green-headed fly suddenly appeared in the immaculate living room, buzzing around Tang Anren. Aunt Lu, are you blind? Can't you see there's a fly in the living room? Even a dog would be more useful than you. After swatting at the fly, Tang Anren redirected her fury towards the maid. Hurry up and get rid of it. Just as Tang Anren opened her mouth to scream again, the green-headed fly flew straight into her mouth and was swallowed. Ugh. Everyone present recoiled in disgust, with my cousin covering her mouth, looking as though she might vomit. This green-headed fly was particularly large, seemingly twice the size of an ordinary fly, its head glistening with an eerie green sheen that made it all the more repugnant under the sunlight. I couldn't help but pat my chest, relieved that I had opted for bread instead of flies. It seems one must rely on comparisons. With that thought, I felt much better. Tang Anren's blood-curdling scream echoed, prompting Lu Qingxian to swiftly pull me away. Isn't Tang Anren also afflicted by the curse? Lu Qingxian marched ahead, his eyes wide with indignation, looking rather endearing in his fury. It's all the Taoist's fault. Tang Anren is undoubtedly harsh and has likely never performed any good deeds. She must be the one who stole your fate. The curse she suffers won't be life-threatening, merely causing temporary weight gain, darkening of the skin, height reduction, the growth of hair and pimples and hair loss, among other things. Our immediate concern should be saving your classmate, who is in greater danger. What a triviality. The sorceress indeed had a vindictive streak. After Tang Anren insulted her as dark, fat, ugly, and old, she promptly made her even darker, fatter, uglier, and older. Lu Qingxian mentioned that reclaiming my fate was a complex process requiring meticulous preparation and could not be rushed. Our priority was to rescue Gu Haoze, so we hurriedly made our way to his home. Gu Haoze's parents were exceptionally kind and gentle. I visited them annually after graduation, and they always welcomed me warmly. However, I had never encountered Gu Haoze during those visits, so while I was unfamiliar with him, I was well acquainted with his parents. Upon our arrival today, Gu's mother, with red-rimmed eyes, grasped my hand and, without uttering a word, tears streamed down her cheeks. Yanning, have you seen the girlfriend that A's brought home? We have no demands for his future wife. Wealth is irrelevant. We only wish for good character, intelligence, and a bit of culture. But that woman Ace has brought home. I hesitated before Gu's tear-stained mother, pondering how to convey the matter of the curse. Auntie, could it be possible that Gu Haoze has been hypnotized? Hypnotized? In an instant, Mother Gu's eyes sparkled with a glimmer of hope. I know a remarkable hypnotist. How about I take Gu Haoze to see her tomorrow? She suggested. However, it seems his girlfriend follows him everywhere, which may pose a bit of a challenge. Mother Gu joyfully smacked my hand. Yanning, what a clever child. How did I not think of this sooner? Recently, Haoze's behavior has been rather peculiar. He seems utterly compliant to his girlfriend. Their relationship appears less like that of lovers and more akin to master and servant. Tomorrow, I will keep his girlfriend occupied, and you can go without a worry. With Mother Gu's support, our plan had already achieved a degree of success. Although the sorceress possessed formidable skills, she was still a woman, and one who had emerged from the mountains without much exposure to the world. Mother Gu took her to a jewelry store, claiming she wished to present her with a gift, and the sorceress was instantly captivated. After 3 laps around the store, Mother Gu excused herself, saying she had urgent business at the company, instructing Gu Haoze to sign a document and return. The sorceress hesitated momentarily, but ultimately chose the allure of jewelry over the man. I was already waiting at the mall entrance, driving the Gu family's chauffeur-driven car. As soon as Gu Haoze entered the vehicle, Lu Qingxian extended his hand from the back seat and swiftly pressed a yellow talisman into Gu Haoze's mouth. What the hell? Who's there? Gu Haoze exclaimed, startled, first glaring at Lu Qingxian, then turning to me. Vo Yanning? Why are you here? Where is my driver? I caught a glimpse of Lu Qingxian nodding affirmatively in the rearview mirror, which eased my anxiety. Brother, are you not aware that someone has cast a curse on you? What nonsense are you spouting? Gu Haoze retorted. Suddenly, his expression drained of color, and he doubled over, clutching his mouth as he began to vomit violently. The talisman Lu Qingxian had placed on him served to isolate the curse and temporarily restore his awareness, while simultaneously deceiving the curse itself, ensuring it remained undetected by the sorceress. Gu Haoze's misfortune was truly profound. On that day in Magic City for a business trip, He encountered security personnel chasing away the sorceress at the hotel entrance, who stumbled and fell, mistaking her plump figure for that of a pregnant woman. He went to assist her, only to be cursed the moment he touched her. The world is a complicated place. It seems there are more people one should refrain from helping than just the elderly. I drove swiftly to a villa on the outskirts of the city, also arranged by Gu Haoze's mother. The villa boasted a vast sunlit courtyard facing south. Lu Qingxian pulled Gu Haoze to the center of the yard and promptly bound him like a rice dumpling. Gu Haoze looked utterly bewildered. It's summer now, it's so hot. What are you doing? While Lu Qingxian and I wiped the sweat from our brows under the shade of tall trees, 2 lounge chairs sat beneath the foliage, with a basin of clear water placed between them, exuding a tempting fragrance from whatever Lu Qingxian had added. I fanned myself and sipped my tea, exhaling contentedly. Gu Haoze, Master Qingxian has informed me that the curse abhors sunlight. At this hour, the sun's energy is at its peak. If you endure 2 hours of exposure, the curse will be unable to resist crawling out to seek water, so just bear with it. Under the sun, Gu Haoze's fair complexion reddened, while Lu Qingxian tightly bound him with coarse hemp rope, his muscles straining against the bindings, exuding an allure of restraint. Such a physique. No wonder he caught the sorceress's eye. In the sweltering midday heat, I lounged on the chair, drowsy, when Gu Haoze, kneeling in the center of the courtyard, began coughing. Lu Qingxian and I sprang to attention. The insect was about to emerge. I had never witnessed such a bizarre and grotesque sight. Gu Haoze opened his mouth wide as a pink, intestine-like creature slowly crawled out. It was the first time I found the color pink utterly repulsive. Sensing the water, the creature turned its head towards us, revealing a singular gray eye, hesitating as if contemplating whether to approach. Gu Haoze's mouth gaped open, tears streaming down his face, making it seem as though this grotesque appendage was a tentacle extending from his mouth, delivering a significant shock to my fragile psyche. Realizing our desire for the creature to draw near, Gu Haoze's forehead bulged with veins, his expression reflecting agony as he summoned the strength to stand. My goodness. He resembled a monster from a foreign horror film. I instinctively darted behind a tree, leaving the front line to Lu Qingxian. Gu Haoze staggered toward us and the creature, clearly startled, attempted to retract into his body, but it was too late. With swift reflexes, Lu Qingxian seized the creature, forcefully dragging it out. Goodness. It was at least a meter long. I could not discern what Lu Qingxian had sprinkled on the creature, but it instantly shrank to the size of a finger, curling up and writhing on the ground. Lu Qingxian produced a glass vial, capturing it within, before wiping the sweat from his brow. I cautiously emerged from behind the tree. Gu Haoze, teary-eyed, crouched on the ground, coughing violently. I approached, patted his shoulder, and handed him a bottle of mineral water. Goodness, I'm no longer clean, Gu Haoze exclaimed, rinsing his mouth vigorously with the water. After a moment, he grasped my hand, his eyes misty as he looked up at me. Zhou Yanning, please. Do not speak of today's events to anyone. It's far too humiliating. I gazed at him sympathetically. Did you forget that you paraded the sorceress around claiming she was your girlfriend? It's over, Gu Haoze muttered, his face ashen as he slumped to the ground, exuding an air of despair. However, the ordeal was not yet concluded. While Lu Qingxian had dealt with the insect, the sorceress still loomed. What? I still have to return and pretend to be in a relationship with that terrifying woman, Gu Haoze lamented. Truly unfortunate. Lu Qingxian instructed him to act as if nothing had transpired and to find an excuse to lure the sorceress back next week. I have placed a drop of the insect's blood on you. She will not detect any issues in the short term. Bring her here next week, and we will resolve this once and for all. Gu Haoze departed with a look of profound disillusionment, and Lu Qingxian and I returned home. Following our plan, I intentionally brought up during dinner the pomegranate trees at my parents' graves, expressing my desire to replace them with osmanthus trees. Absolutely not, my usually amiable uncle exclaimed in fury, slamming the table with a resounding bang. Ning ning. This is where your thoughtlessness shows. The pomegranate tree was your father's favorite, and it has been there for so many years. You cannot simply change such matters. Ning ning, you are too young to understand the gravity of such decisions. How can you expect them to be altered so easily? Do you think it's as simple as changing clothes? Auntie chimed in, her voice sharp and piercing, making one wish to cover their ears. I, too, stood up in indignation. I have the final say over my parents' graves. I am not here to seek your approval. Moreover, Uncle, my father never liked pomegranate trees. Perhaps you are mistaken. The meal ended on a sour note, and as I stepped outside for some fresh air, I spotted a furtive figure lurking not far away. Gu Haoze? Upon seeing me, Gu Haoze's eyes lit up, and he rushed over, pulling me aside. Zhou Yanning, you finally came out. Why aren't you with your sorceress? What do you want with me? Ugh, what do you mean my sorceress? Gu Haoze looked around anxiously. Where is Master Lu? He is probing me for information, so don't rush, Lu Qingxian remarked. He mentioned that these days are not opportune for action, as he has not yet prepared everything. Gu Haoze sighed and explained that he had taken a sorcerer to purchase jewelry, seizing the chance to slip away under the pretense of an important company matter. Indeed, women have an irresistible attraction to gold and jewels, and so did the sorcerer. Gu Haoze and I reclined in his car, gazing at the stars, not the celestial ones above, but the starry ceiling of his vehicle. How delightful it is to be wealthy! Had I not been subjected to a change of fate, I too could have led a blissful life. Vo Yanning, how did you come to know Lu Qingxian? I shared the tale of my altered fate with Gu Haoze, prompting him to sit upright in surprise. Holy cow! I know who helped Tang Anren change your fate. Gu Haoze revealed that his family had investigated the lineage of Tang Anren due to an impending marriage alliance. Her grandfather was a somewhat renowned sorcerer in their locality, who, despite being in good health, succumbed to a sudden illness when Tang Anren was merely 10, dying of gruesome decay. Everyone claims he cast some forbidden spell to alter fate and suffered backlash. It is said that when he died, he was unrecognizable, and curiously enough, ever since his demise. Her family has prospered day by day. Her parents even had a son. Now, their company is quite successful, otherwise, my family wouldn't have arranged for my engagement to her. I never imagined her family could be so vile. Rest assured, I will help you reclaim your fate. Gu Haoze appeared more enraged than I was. He had been cursed, and I had been subjected to a fate swap. Truly, we were kindred spirits in our misfortunes. After a while, Gu Haoze's phone rang, and he answered it fearlessly. Yes, dear. I will be right back. Living is truly not easy. Zhou Yanning, despite the challenges, I am persisting, so you must be strong too. I will assist you. He patted my hand and accelerated away. As I watched him disappear into the distance, I pondered the enigmatic nature of human hearts. The ones closest to you may seek to harm you, while strangers may come to your rescue. Yet, one question lingered in my mind. Why would my uncle's family conspire with outsiders against us? Surely, with our newfound wealth, we could provide more assistance than the Tang family could. Upon returning to my room, Lu Qingxian entered with exuberance. I have conceived a brilliant idea. Tang Anren has been cursed, and her condition will deteriorate drastically in a few days. At that time, we shall find someone to declare that she has undergone a fate swap and is suffering backlash, necessitating a return to survive. What a splendid idea! Lu Qingxuan's excitement heightened upon receiving my approval. I will immediately call my master and have him accompany us to perform a grand act. His master, an elderly Taoist with flowing beard and an ethereal presence, possessed an aura of wisdom that commanded respect. I felt a sense of assurance. His mere appearance would lend credence to our scheme. Lu Qingxian took his master to Tang Anren's home while I feigned calmness, watching television at home. My cousin paced anxiously nearby. Sister, what are you doing? You're making me dizzy. She bit her lip, her expression a mixture of anxiety and trepidation as she gazed at me. Has Tang Anren been possessed? Her demeanor betrayed astonishment, disbelief, and shock. My acting skills impressed even myself. My cousin nodded fearfully, her voice trembling. I visited her this morning, and in just a few days, she has doubled in size, shrunk at least 10 centimeters in height, and her face is covered in bumps, resembling a toad. She smashed all the mirrors in her house and broke everything she could in her room. The sight was simply terrifying. Her fearful demeanor greatly amused me, and I planned to indulge in an extra helping of rice later. Sister, why do you think Tang Anren, who was fine, suddenly became possessed? Has she committed some heinous act and faced retribution? Just then, my aunt emerged with dishes, accidentally dropping one, spilling food everywhere. That evening, Lu Qingxian texted me, reporting that the plan had been remarkably successful. Upon his master's arrival at Tang Anren's home, he declared that the house was engulfed in ominous energy and was promptly welcomed inside by the servants. After assessing Tang Anren's condition, he proclaimed that she had undergone a fate swap and was suffering backlash. He further elaborated that the opposing party had named several individuals, and now vengeful spirits had filed grievances in the underworld. If the fate swap were not reversed, Tang Anren's family would soon face ruin. Her parents, skeptical at first, soon received alarming news from their company regarding a critical project experiencing severe issues, potentially leading to exorbitant penalties. Moreover, Tang Anren's brother had been involved in a car accident on his way home from school, though fortunately, he was unharmed. Lu Qixian informed me that the latter two incidents had been orchestrated by Gu Haoze. The series of calamities would undoubtedly crush Tang Anren's parents, who were likely now lamenting their desire to swap fates with us. I set down my phone, feeling a warmth in my heart. How tragically unfortunate, yet how fortuitous. My unfortunate life was nearing its end, and those who wronged me would inevitably pay a grievous price. The following day, I deliberately rose late, remaining in bed until nearly noon before descending. As I anticipated, my cousin, uncle, and aunt were present. My cousin approached me with a look of surprise. "Ning, you are truly fortunate." I silently withdrew my hand, feigning ignorance. "What luck? A master has arrived at Tang Anren's home, claiming she is indeed possessed and needs a special birth date to help her. When I saw that birth date, it was yours." I regarded her with suspicion. "Sister, you know my birth date? I'm not even sure of it myself." My aunt interjected, "Oh, everyone in the village knows Ning has a fortunate birth date. Our family remembers it well. Ning, you know how wealthy Tang Anren's family is. Her parents have offered 1 million if you agree to help her. That is a fortune." A cold laugh echoed in my heart. What they sought to take from me far exceeded 1 million. It also included the lives of my parents. Can money truly compensate for such losses? I feigned hesitation, shaking my head. How would I help? Would it be detrimental to me? I wouldn't want any unclean spirits lingering around me. "Oh, don't say that. This is a good thing. They have a master to perform the ritual. And a master would never harm anyone." My uncle and aunt further implored me, emphasizing the hardships of my work and life, suggesting that this money could afford me a more comfortable existence. They assured me that family would not deceive family and guaranteed that this endeavor would only bring benefits, not harm. Under their relentless persuasion, I reluctantly agreed. The next day, I arrived at Tang Anren's home as promised. Although I had prepared myself, I was still taken aback by her appearance. Her once fair skin had turned dark and coarse, her face riddled with numerous red bumps, some of which were oozing. The once statuesque figure had morphed into that of a bloated barrel, her height of nearly 170 centimeters reduced to a mere 150. Her formerly luxurious and flowing hair was now sparse, resembling the disheveled appearance of Qiu Qianqi from the legend of the Condor heroes. For a girl who once took immense pride in her beauty, becoming such a sight was undoubtedly more distressing than death itself. When Tang Anren beheld me, she was overwhelmed with excitement, emitting a series of raspy coughs from her throat. Her eyes, nearly obscured by her ample flesh, radiated an intense light. Under the auspices of Master Lu Qixian, Tang Anren and I were ushered into a sealed chamber. The walls of the room were adorned with bagua symbols, while intricate formations and inscrutable sigils were drawn across the floor. We lay anxiously in the center of the room, awaiting the forthcoming steps. At some point, I succumbed to slumber. In a hazy reverie, I felt as though I had been transported to a remarkably warm locale. I had never felt such warmth in my body before. My limbs were imbued with vigor, my palms and soles radiated heat, and the blood coursing through my veins felt as if it were alive, joyously surging within me. I understood then that my fate had returned. I was the first to open my eyes, and there stood Master Lu Qixian, a gentle smile gracing his countenance as he gazed at me. Looking into his kind eyes, I was suddenly overwhelmed with emotion, unable to restrain the tears that streamed down my face, wailing like a child who had suffered great injustice. He approached and gently patted my head, saying, "Let it all out. From now on, tread your own path with confidence." Tang Anren remained in a deep slumber, and Master Lu Qixian informed her parents that she would sleep for a full 3 days, after which all would return to normal. Having received no monetary compensation, Tang Anren's parents harbored no fears of our departure, and thus the three of us sauntered out of the Tang residence with ease. With my own matters resolved, it was time to address the matter of the sorceress. Gu Haoze, as per our agreement, brought the sorceress to a villa on the outskirts. Upon witnessing the array of formations surrounding us, the sorceress realized she had been deceived. She turned to Gu Haoze with a cold smirk, Haoze. How cruel you are to treat your betrothed in such a manner. Bah. I offered you my help, yet you sought my life. I have endured your treachery for far too long. As Gu Haoze's expression soured, the sorceress's eyes glinted with malice, and she began to recite an incomprehensible incantation. As the incantation concluded, the backpack that Master Lu Qingxian had placed beneath a tree exploded, splattering a pink liquid across the ground. Was that the pink sea cucumber? Had it still been within Gu Haoze, would the explosion have resulted in his demise? The sorceress was indeed merciless, as Gu Haoze's face turned ashen with evident fear. Gu Haoze, run! I shouted, noticing he stood frozen. He quickly dashed toward us, a swarm of snakes trailing behind him. I was baffled as to how the sorceress had concealed so many snakes on her person and regretted following Lu Qingxian and his companions. For I was merely an ordinary person. The sight of these serpents filled me with both terror and revulsion. The sorceress clashed violently with Master Lu Qingxian and his disciples, the air thick with flying dust and debris. Gu Haoze and I crouched in a corner, clutching our heads and trembling. Good heavens! I can hardly believe my eyes. I never imagined the tales in novels were true. Oh my! Gu Haoze! There's a large spider by your feet. Ultimately, the sorceress proved no match for Master Lu Qingxian, who swiftly knocked her unconscious with a single kick. The sorceress harbored a life-bound insect within her, the source of all her sorcery. I was uncertain of Master Lu Qingxian's methods, but soon the sorceress expelled a golden silkworm from her mouth. Master Lu Qingxian doused the silkworm in an entire packet of salt, and, much like the previous frog, it quickly transformed into a desiccated husk. Gu Haoze marveled at the spectacle, and I informed him this phenomenon is known as osmosis. Devoid of her life-bound insect, the sorceress became an ordinary person, and Gu Haoze charged her with theft, resulting in her imprisonment. The sorceress, driven by greed, had pilfered numerous jewels from Gu Haoze's mother's quarters while residing in his home. These jewels were of considerable value, ensuring she would never again wreak havoc upon others. According to Master Lu Qingxian, with the loss of her life-bound insect, the sorcery afflicting Tang Anren should have been lifted. Yet, curiously, Tang Anren remained unchanged, still bearing the ghastly visage of a haggard old witch. This grotesque appearance naturally obliterated any prospects of a union with Gu Haoze's family. Now that my fate had been restored, I felt unencumbered. Gu Haoze, now devotedly orbiting around me, professed that our bond was one of life and death, declaring that my affairs were his own. Thus, early one morning, I led him and Lu Qingxian to my parents' gravesite, preparing for a significant undertaking. Stop. Cease your actions. My uncle and his family arrived, breathless, as a worker had just felled a pomegranate tree. Ning Ning, what are you doing? Are you disturbing your parents' souls? My uncle's words were laden with accusations of unfilial behavior, and onlookers from the village began to gather. In rural communities, even the slightest commotion draws an audience eager to meddle in affairs that do not concern them. I did not even lift my gaze, merely bowing to request Master Lu Qingxian's assistance. He maintained an air of otherworldly wisdom as he circled the grave, proclaiming that I had been wronged and my fortune borrowed, leading to my parents' premature demise and our family's decline. He further asserted that the one who had usurped my fortune would undoubtedly seek to tamper with the grave to prevent my parents from seeking justice in the afterlife. The villagers erupted in disbelief. Rural folk had never encountered such notions. Good heavens, aren't we forbidden from engaging in superstitious practices? Surely this is a fraud. This Taoist must be a charlatan. That may not be the case. Ning Ning has always been fortunate. Who in the village has not envied her? Since that illness at 10, she has seemed cursed. Perhaps she truly has had her fortune borrowed. Ning Ning, this is sheer folly. My younger uncle rushed forward, standing by in exasperation, for with my grandfather deceased, he was our only elder. You'll see for yourself whether this is folly or not, I replied, stopping my younger uncle in his tracks, while also restraining my uncle's family, gesturing for the workers to proceed. Soon, numerous nails of varying lengths were unearthed from the pomegranate tree, and jars lay buried beneath it. Upon opening a jar, a foul stench wafted through the air, and I instructed the workers to set it aside. Some daring villagers drew near, peering into the jar, which was filled with a multitude of mouse skeletons, clearly deceased for many years. A hush fell over the crowd. Though it was morning, the sun blazed down, Yet an icy chill enveloped everyone's hearts, sending shivers through their bodies. The tombstone was pried open, revealing a joint burial chamber. Inside the chamber, an entanglement of roots had pierced the urns, which were covered by a black cloth inscribed with the character in traditional script. I clutched the urn, weeping uncontrollably, and the villagers gathered around, many shedding tears alongside me. This is a fate that prevents even the dead from resting in peace. How monstrous. I recall these trees were planted by Ningning's uncle, and he was the one who buried the urn, wasn't he? My younger uncle, trembling, stepped forward and struck my uncle across the face. You heartless beast. To have caused your own brother's demise. How can you bear to live? No wonder you've been changing houses and cars these past few years. Is it because your family has stolen Ningning's fortune? Overwhelmed by the revelation, my uncle could no longer maintain his composure and, weeping, confessed everything. It turned out that the villagers had long believed I was favored by fate. Tang Anren's grandparents, also from our village, had approached my uncle's family, deceiving them into believing they knew a master of great skill who could borrow a modicum of fortune from those blessed with good luck to enhance their own. The family of my uncle, envious of the prosperity of my household, resorted to their insidious suggestions and stealthily took my birth details and personal belongings. Unfortunately, they fell prey to the deceit orchestrated by the Tang family, mistakenly believing they were merely borrowing luck for themselves, only to unwittingly swap destinies with me. By the time the truth was revealed, it was too late. The Tang family had compensated them handsomely and enticed them into business ventures, demanding their silence in return. I never intended to harm my brother. I was deceived, truly deceived, lamented my uncle, clinging to the leg of my little grandfather, weeping profusely. This farce eventually came to a close. Lu Qixian assisted me in selecting an auspicious day to reinter my parents' ashes. On the day of the burial, I dreamt of my parents as they appeared years ago, beaming with joy as they reassured me that my future would only improve and that they were at peace. The Tang family faced utter misfortune. Their business ventures crumbled, with Tang Anren's father imprisoned for illegal fundraising. Their properties and factories were seized, leaving them destitute. The most wretched of all was Tang Anren, who would have to endure a lifetime bearing a frightful visage. With the downfall of the Tang family, my uncle's household mirrored their misfortune. As the Tang family had been their largest client, they found themselves unable to recover any of the outstanding payments. To settle debts with other creditors, my uncle's family sold all their city assets, returning to the village. However, their reputation in the village had long been tarnished. It became commonplace for villagers to hurl dead mice and rotten vegetables at their abode, expressing their disdain for such unscrupulous individuals returning to reside among them. Miss Yanning, there's no need to see us off. Xiao Dao and Master are heading back now. I stood at the entrance of the high-speed rail station, tears brimming in my eyes as I tugged at Lu Qixian's sleeve. Master Qixian, I have yet to express my gratitude properly. Were it not for you, I would have perished. I hastily wiped my tears, at a loss for how to convey my immense appreciation. Lu Qixian winked at me. If you continue to cry, Gu Haoze will think I am mistreating you. I have calculated your birth details. A fated relationship is destined for you. He will treat you well in the future. Miss Yanning, make sure to live your life beautifully. Gu Haoze? I blinked through my tears, lifting my gaze to find Lu Qixian striding away with his master. Do not cry. If you are so reluctant to part with Master Qixian, how about we visit him in a few days? Gu Haoze approached, offering a comforting pat on my shoulder and a tissue. Is he truly my fated companion? Observing Gu Haoze's cautious demeanor, I couldn't help but smile. I am certain that my future holds great promise. The end of the tale. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to our next story together.